So hey there, I'm RobinSukroso. I'm a percussive guitar player. It means drumming on the guitar. I'm an electronic musician and the inventor of ACPAD. ACPAD is this thing. It's an attachable pad for acoustic guitars. Do we have sound for this? Or? Yeah. So it's super thin. You can put it on every normal acoustic guitar, and while not destroying the acousticness of the sound, so it really blends electronic music and acoustic music together. I'm really honored to talk here today. So in this talk I will talk not only about the design of ACPAD and ACPAD itself, I want to speak in a bigger way about it, so how to design your dreams into reality and the romantic story behind. So I'm a world traveler, and it took me like 6 years from the very start, where I came to the very initial idea of ACPAD to where it is now. So that's where I'm from, not from Munich and not even close to Munich. So it's like 1.5 hours away. The next city 20 kilometers away, then there's 300 meters away the next village. And then anywhere you find Goldbrunn, that is the farm where I grew up. So there is nothing much going on. You see it already, the streets, they get thinner and thinner when you try to get to my parents' home. We had actually more cows than inhabitants. That's really true. The idea of my parents was actually that little Robin will become a farmer once, but they completely messed it up when they gave me as a present, when I was 12, acoustic guitar. So it's kind of their own fault that I... And what really inspired me was, I was 12 years old and I watched Woodstock documentary on the television, and I was like, wow, there's so much more out there which I want to explore. So I was always like in my room looking to the globe, and I was like, okay, I want to travel to the US, I want to travel to India. One day it will happen. So the next step to get closer to this dream was studying music, also quite against the will of my parents. So the first track which you heard, it was a track which I composed when I was 16, and this track is played in a completely different tuning, a tuning which I actually didn't know what it was. I just liked the Indian sitar kind of sound, and this track actually got me into a music conservatory in Bavaria. From this time I tried to learn as many styles as possible and also came closer to flamenco. I will demonstrate this. So flamenco has the technique of golpe. Golpe is the sound, the percussive sound when you knock on the wood. So it goes like this. Golpe, yes, it is. When I started, I realized it was a very theoretic approach to music then. Like I was able to compose a funk song, to compose blues, compose rock, but actually I had the feeling the creativity didn't come like from the heart. It was more an academic approach. I needed to explore something, and I went to Berlin, and I found myself actually only teaching in music schools, teaching piano, teaching guitar, and this was actually not the kind of living I imagined as a musician, and I really was doubting if I should continue as a musician, or maybe I'm even not an artist, and actually who cares? I don't have to be an artist, I don't have to prove anything. So I decided to move on to my second dream, which was traveling around the world. After 2 years living in Berlin and teaching in music schools, I had still 10,000 euro left and the world. So I really decided to break out and discover and explore as much as I can. I took the guitar with me, a 50 euros crap guitar. If I end up as a dishwasher or cook anything, I would be fine with it. It started actually with USA. This was my first country I traveled to. And started with Burning Man Festival. So there I was just completely blown away. Coming from this little, not even village, Goldbrunn, to this place, I was like, yeah, everything is possible. I was right. I've met a really fascinating girl there, and she was said, yeah, you only have to believe in your dreams, and you can manifest it. So manifestation was the word I was hearing back then very often. So the effects of the music conservatory were almost completely reversed at this point. So then out of this input I got from all this traveler, I was like, yeah, I can do whatever I want, I just have to do it. I was applying to many festivals back home in Germany, so I had like hundreds of festivals I was writing to, and I got one response. And this response was saying, dude, you only play acoustic guitar, we want bands with a kick-ass banging sound. So what do you actually want, basically? Luckily, I was still in a good environment. I was then in Brazil, and I've seen the approach of a much more physical way of playing music, percussive way. I started to think about the flamenco idea again, because actually what I wanted is not only the wooden sound, I wanted like a kick-ass banging sound. So that's actually what the talk is also about here, that there are these obstacles which seem very negative, like you're really inspired and write to 100 of festivals, and you only get one mail back, but actually this one mail changed everything, where I was saying like, okay, now I have to do something out of it. And yeah, for me, obstacles, they're seemingly negative things, but actually, if you look in the right direction, I deeply believe you can turn it around when it's a sort of energy. Oh God, now I sound like a hippie. Sort of energy which you can transform into something good. And I want to demonstrate how I was thinking later on about being a one-man band just on the normal guitar. So I had in my mind to have like bass sound, to have this, but also the drum sounds. And then the idea grew of only like a snare sound here, like I had bass kick. And then, yeah, it grew that I thought I'm like a one-man band now. I was traveling and was spending a lot of time alone anyway, so I came to things like this. Yeah. So these were my first approaches, my innocent approaches. On the very left you see ACPAD with a lot of sensors on it, and this was back in Australia 2009. I was applying for the ACPAD patent, so I had to make my way somehow of this world trip I was doing, which I thought it only takes me 1 year, but it took me much longer because I ran out of money and needed to do, indeed, a dishwashing job. It took me like 1 year anyway to earn enough money in Australia, but at the same time I was working on the first prototypes. Then when I was going back to Germany, I had less difficulties to find people working with me. This is also something fascinating about Berlin. Still, it's happening. I think it changed very soon, that there are so many people which try to help you if they see you have something creative going on and they don't want any reward out of it other than seeing the success and seeing the final product. So without this, I wouldn't have been able to come to this point. Collaboration is actually the magic word. With the first prototype, I was able to play my first gigs. I was touring as much as I can to try to get a name for ACPAD and to try to get a name for me as RobinSukroso. And then finally, the first gig was lined up, which was rather big, with some really huge names in the lineup, and it was planned to be in Dubai. It was looking like it's about to head off. But then my guitar invention got stolen after a gig in Berlin. Yeah. This was shit. But I thought again, like, okay, should I give up now? Because all my money spent into this. Then I thought, how can I take this again and make something out of it? What I did, I was posting this photo on Facebook. Hey, this is the photo of the guitar which is missing, and I give 500 euros if somebody finds it. And what happened is, like, thousands of people were sharing this photo, and I got a booking agency and I got a manager out of this. And friends of mine, they organized a party, so many artists joined together, and it was a fundraising party for me. So in order to buy a laptop and buy the equipment which I need for my performances. In the end, I made it to Dubai, and I've met this crazy friend of mine. It's Randolph, the Indian rock star, a really awesome dude. And he said, yeah, man, come to India and hang out in Goa, and you can play gigs there. And then again, so this is magic obstacle number 3, guitar problems. I was in India and I knew I need to do these gigs in order to survive. And my guitar invention, where all the cables were inside, was broken after the flight. So I was like, okay, what should I do? And I needed to find some engineers to fix it. I used my successful strategy. I wrote to 300 email addresses from Indian Institute for Technology in Bombay. And this time, with a higher success rate, 20 people replied. And from those, we assembled a team of a product manager, product designer, and electrical engineering. So 2.5 years later, we were at the next prototypes, which were already closer to the final product. And we were working always on Skype, many conversations in Indian accent and with broken internet connection. So this was kind of challenging. This is still a prototype where the computer chip, the chipboard, is on the side of the guitar. We have now found a way to implement the computer chip, so it's right under the logo. It will be here, and then it can be played wirelessly or connected. ACPAD is not only a musical instrument for me, it's, as you probably understand, it's my life, and means kind of the material proof that you can design the dreams into a reality. And at the end, I would say maybe let's dance, but don't know if the room allows it. So I play something with the ACPAD.